Hey there, Sirius here. I know I really haven't put out any content in a while. There's one foundation video queued that I just haven't had the time to edit. But I do have a week off now, which I will have to do a bit of spring cleaning and, get myself set up for the rest of the year. But I don't feel like playing Foundation, and it's not because it's a bad game. Every game has a few things that you are inevitably not going to like. There's no such thing as a perfect game, because for everything that a game does right, it's also going to mess up something else. But it's a great game, and I do like it a lot, so I think I will continue playing it. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue that series or if I'm just going to start a new one. The thing for me is that although I do put out videos on YouTube, ultimately I only do this for myself. I do not really think about wanting to pressure myself into making any specific content. So, I mean, that's just what it is. And I feel like playing Dyson Sphere. It's been a long time since I last played Dyson Sphere. And for anyone that's familiar with Dyson Sphere, you can take a look at the left to see how much metadata I have available. And that'll tell you roughly how far along in the game I've gotten last time I've played. And it's been so long that I don't even really remember anything about the game. But I do remember that I do enjoy the simple act of just figuring out how to build something. Just how to prioritize certain production lines and how to get everything streamlined. And I just feel like playing something like this, where I can just grind away at it and without any particular goal. I know there is a particular goal in Dyson Sphere, that's the whole point of the game, but I'm not going to play the game in the way where I'm going to get to the Dyson Sphere as fast as possible. I'm going to play the game in my own style, which means I'm going to try to fiddle with things until I'm satisfied with them. And for that reason, we're gonna make resources sparse. I don't know how that's going to impact the game. I've only ever played it with the normal settings. We're not gonna have enemy forces on though, so there's that. And hopefully this will make every decision more meaningful. Now, I don't know if I'm happy with this cluster here, if this was just randomly generated. I don't know enough about the game to know if having these stars here is good. Having a black hole probably is a good idea. I don't know if you want a black hole. I don't know if it's a good idea to have a black hole at the edge or if you want to be there a bit faster. A white dwarf, neutron star, O-type stars, B-type stars, A-type stars. See, I don't know what any of that means, but we're just going to click random until I'm happy with it. Okay, so we've got a lot of B-type stars here. And the black hole is over here. And then the neutron stars over there. Okay. There's also this blue giant over here, which I like that. I like having a blue giant. I don't dislike this one. Okay, I don't know enough about the game to know if this is a good start or not, but we're just going to start the game here. We're going to have a maximum number of stars. This is the cluster address, if you're curious. I don't know. All right, let's go. Okay, I'm not skilled, but I do like to not be interrupted by the tutorials and just figure my own thing out.
Welcome to the real universe. Very soon, you'll find this place different from our homeland. But you should be able to adapt to the laws of physics here in no time. I'm your advisor. I will assist you in completing this mission.
Well, I just noticed that it says early access in the top right corner. Is this game still in early access?
As a member of the Cosmo, a pioneer of the Dyson Sphere program, you will explore this cluster from ground zero. Make use of the resources available here to build a Dyson Sphere that supplies energy to the center brain to maintain homeland simulation. I've chosen a planet for the mission, and there are essential resources for the initial development. Now, please pilot the space capsule toward this planet.
Alright, what happens if we pilot it somewhere else, you know? I've never actually thought about that, but what if we just go over there? It's probably a bad idea.
From the course.
Okay, it's not gonna let us. It's probably a better idea to go to the planet that they've chosen, because you need the resources that they're gonna have on that planet. I do like the idea of playing with very scarce resources, because it'll really make me feel...
Now you're about to arrive at the target planet.
Oh, come on, shut up. It'll make me feel like every decision matters, and that's really what I love in video games, is when I feel that way. When I feel like I can't mess up, or it'll be the end.
Space capsule will land on the target planet in 3, 2, 1. Landed.
Alright, like, go away. So, first things we're gonna have to figure out is, how do I open my inventory again? E, okay. I don't have anything in my inventory, okay. Normally you start off with a... Oh, wait, no, I need to dismantle this. This will give me some fuel. Okay, let's dismantle this. This will give me some fuel. However, I will probably try to keep that fuel for emergency situations. Let's have a little look around here. Alright, so we got some starting material, so we got some fuel. As well as some iron and some magnets and some copper. This should help me start off. Let me see real quick. I need to familiarize myself again with the technology tree and all that. The upgrades, okay, so... Max core energy is probably not a bad idea. And then electromagnetism will unlock me some things here. Okay. I'm trying to see where my next fuel source is going to be. Because that's something I will have to figure out. So coal is probably... You can chop down the trees. But coal is probably the better option. You'll need coal for a bunch of other things, but oh well. So I think up here, this coal cluster is probably where I'll be headed. I wish you could just put down like a marker or something, but well. Let's see if we can go there. I like to make sure to get fuel started early on. Of course, like I said, there's probably a better way or faster way to play this game, but it's what it is. I do like that there's a lot of oil just right next to each other here, so that'll probably streamline the process of harvesting that and using that. Alright, we have arrived at the coal. Standing still is always going to recharge our mecha. You cannot run out of energy. You are always going to recharge at least a little bit. It is going to recharge a lot faster though with some fuel, so yeah. Alright, so let's go ahead and make the 10 FEs that we need. Okay, so we need to make 5 cycles of that so that we can research electromagnetism. And yeah, I'm taking my time with this, and I hope that it reaches the right people who aren't in a rush to get through this. Did we only make 9? No, we should have made 10, right?
Research complete.
There we go. Alright, so now that we've researched that, we can go ahead and place the mining machine that we've just unlocked. So you'll want to be as... I hate when I end up moving around. I am trying to place this as best as possible to get the most but sometimes I don't even know if that's very necessary. I mean, honestly. We can just build multiple, or when we've run out, right, we can just place it somewhere else. I think we're just gonna start over here with these 6 nodes. Oh, we can do 7. 7 sounds good to me. There. Okay, now we need electricity. Thankfully, we got started out with a wind turbine, and we're also close to a lake. I do like setting up wind turbines around the lakes. So maybe we'll actually just set it up right next to the harvester here. Maybe right here is good. Huh. Okay, so it's not gonna collide when the foot is literally reaching into the harvester, but when I select the one where it looks like it's gonna collide the least, it's saying that it's colliding. That is very curious. Alright, let's just build it here. There we go, and now this is going to mine us some coal. Beautiful. Now we just need a way to actually get the coal out from there, so what we're going to want to do now is work on some conveyor belts. And to do that, we're first going to have to research them. So that would be up here, the basic logistics system. So if I activate it, it'll tell me what I need. So I need gears and circuit boards. You can also grab the coal directly from here. Oop. So now I have the coal in my inventory. If I wanted to put that in my mecha as fuel. So now as I use the fuel, it is going to burn the fuel. Alright, so let's make some gears. We need 10 and we can make 10. For circuit boards, we will need some more iron. Alright, let's make 9 more. Alright, and for the circuit boards, we will need... We have the copper for it, but we need 10 more iron for it. So, let's go ahead and find some iron. Right over there. Alright. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, that's all we need. So now we should be able to make 5 cycles of this, which will give us what we need to complete our research. In the meantime, we can gather a bit more iron.
Replication complete. Research complete.
Nice. All right. So we have now researched the basic logistic systems. We can also get some upgrades like the mecha core, and I think I want to get that right away. So I need 20 iron and 20 copper, so I'm probably short copper. Let's go grab that copper. The thing about this game that I really like is just how you can really play it at your own pace. There's really no rush. Of course, you know, for some people playing a game, they rush through it, but I don't like doing that. I really like just taking my time. So, we can make 20 of these. And then we can make 20 of those. We do have a conveyor belt available to us now, so we can just start setting that up. I'm not sure where I want to bring this, but there it is, our first conveyor belt.
Replication complete.
Let's get that upgrade. And I think that's about all that I want to upgrade right now. Or that I can't even upgrade right now. I will need different things. Yeah. I will need some matrices before I can upgrade anything more. So now that we have coal, the next few things we want to figure out is harvesting some copper and harvesting some iron. Because we want to start automating a lot of the processes that we have been doing by hand so far. Let's look at the research and see where we are wanting to go. I think basic assembly is probably where I want to go.
Upgrade complete.
Although probably the electromagnetic matrix is the most important one currently, so now let's go basic assembly first, because then we can automate a lot of the things. Let's go ahead. We will need 10 gears and 10 circuit boards. Okay, So again, we're gonna have to make all that by hand because we don't have basic assembly research yet. We could, however, also just start building the mining machines that are just gonna mine for us, and I think we're gonna go ahead and do that. We're also gonna want a depot for our coal, just so we already have a little bit stored up. Let's go ahead and grab some stone. There should be some stone right here. Alright. Not a lot, but it might just be enough. Let's get a little bit more stone.
Replication complete.
I do love the way the game just looks. It's a great game. Alright, let's make some more of these. Okay, I'm short iron. Okay.
Replication complete.
Yeah, the resources are definitely a lot more sparse than the first time I played, but I kind of like it. It's really nice. Keep pressing the wrong button. Anyway, we want one more of these, and yeah, we don't have copper for this. So let's start collecting copper first, maybe. I don't know.
Replication complete.
Anyway, I usually do like to put a storage chest next to where I'm harvesting, just directly next to it. That way I have, you know, overflow, and then I can go from there, right? So I always have a little bit. Maybe I'm gonna move this. How do I? Oh, okay. Alright, yeah, let's actually not set it up there. Let's set it up here. Yeah, there's good. There's good. Alright, then we want to run the belt like so. And then you know, actually, I don't like that. Let's put it like this instead. And then we're gonna run it around like this. And then we can start storing coal here. Very simple setup, but I like it, you know, so now we can have a stockpile of coal. And in the meantime, we should go grab some copper. You know, if you're a bit older, you know, when you've been around for the rise of video games in the 90s, 80s, you will know the beauty that was just playing a video game at your own pace, because there were no YouTube videos telling you how to play the game. You were not comparing yourself constantly with other people. You were just there playing a game because you enjoyed the game, and No one was telling you what to do. You could just enjoy the freedom. If you wanted to stare at the sunset or the sky for 20 minutes and just be in awe of it, you could do that. No one told you that you're lame or that you should get better at the game because you weren't completing the missions fast enough. And I kind of miss those feelings, so that's why on my YouTube channel I don't pressure myself. I just take in the scenery sometimes, think about things before I do anything, and just take my time. I wish it would tell me what I'm lacking to make this, but I suppose I need a bit more iron, probably. Let's go ahead and get some iron. And if you were a 90s child, let me know what's your favorite game from back then. I think for me there was this one game, and I don't even remember like what it was, but there was this city building game. Maybe it was one of the earliest Anno releases or so. I'll have to figure that out because I would really like to play that again. It would make sense that it was Anno, like one of the early versions of it. Okay, I want 2, so let's get 2 started. And as you can see, it's draining your energy to create things in your mecha. It's always going to burn energy a little bit, so let's put a little bit more fuel in to offset that a bit. You can also see the stars just slowly moving across the sky.
Replication complete.
Alright, we are done, so let's start with the iron since we're already here. Set this bad boy up. Nope, wrong button. Let's see how many we can grab. In the end, I don't think it's necessary to grab as many as possible. I just feel like you want to use as few of these harvesters as possible to grab all of the iron. We're gonna upgrade eventually, but for now, this is where we're at. We're also gonna have to obviously figure out electricity. For now though, I will place this guy as well. And then we're gonna figure out electricity. Yeah, but copper is really kind of sparse. I think we don't need as much copper. Kinda can't really get a good setup here. I mean, it's just gonna leave 2 of them out there. Would I rather just build 2? One here and one there. Just to grab all the copper. Alright, let's just build it here. Now we're gonna need electricity, obviously. We already are producing a bit of electricity here. I do sometimes prefer not to have one massive energy system. Even though, you know, obviously if you have overflow, it'll be nice to put it directly next to your other stuff. But sometimes I like to just give everything its own dedicated energy system, because then I'm never risking that, you know, if I put something else down, it's going to just mess with the energy distribution. It's obviously a more primitive way of looking at it. Obviously a big energy grid is better. And, you know, you should obviously do that, but... And in my case, you know, I can just build a wind turbine here. And just get that right next to that coal plant, and then build another wind turbine, put that right next to the iron. And just have each of these harvesting areas just have their own power supply.
Replication complete.
All right. Can we make one more? We can. All right. So now we can just place this down next to the harvester, like right next to it. Let's think about where we're going to put the storage.
Replication
I think
complete.
here. Yeah, that's neat. Because then the conveyor belt can just go out from here and... Oh, okay, actually. Well, I don't hate this. Yeah, let's do it like that. I mean, I have no idea yet where these conveyor belts are going to run eventually, but, you know, it's... I feel like it doesn't really matter as long as you can just kind of combine them all together and get to where they need to go. Especially early on, I don't think I need to worry myself about being super efficient with what I'm doing. I just need to get basic infrastructure going, right? It's not that crucial early on that everything is just completely streamlined. Okay, I can't get it there. I could put it here. Alright, we're gonna put it right there. And see, now this turbine is actually overloaded. It's interesting. I wouldn't think that a single wind turbine can produce enough power for... And setup is it the same here? Alright, so this wind turbine is producing more wind. Is it because this wind turbine is not very efficient? Nope. Apparently it's also at 100% strength. That's curious. What's the difference? This one gives me around 205 to 224. This one gives me the same. Okay, they've stabilized now. Alright, it was just kind of lagging behind. Alright. So, same thing here. We're going to place the storage. And in this case, I'm going to place the storage right here. I might start following the grid a lot more because, honestly, this just looks a lot neater. Alright, so now we need the power source. Let's put that right here. There's better. Now we're collecting everything automatically at least. So, what's next? Could we link these two with just one pylon? Yes. We can. All right. Next up, we want to obviously research the basic assembly. So let's go ahead and grab ourselves the iron and copper that we need for that. So we can just go ahead and pick up a stack of this. And then we can go over here and pick up a stack of coal. Maybe a bit more. trying to figure out what button I need to press to pick up to just pick everything up. Alright. Oh, okay. Alright. So I need to have my inventory open, because if I don't, it's just... Alright, okay. Ah, okay. There we go. We are now burning fossil fuel. Let's go ahead and make 10 of these. And 10 of these.
Replication complete. Research complete.
All right, neat. So, something that I like to do, or that I'm thinking I would like to do, is have a general assembly line. Now that we have the assembler, we could obviously just put it around anywhere and start assembling things. However, that might not be as efficient as we could make this. So I think I will find the equator, and then I'm gonna set up a basic assembly line on the equator. And so we're just gonna bring all the copper and all the iron and all that toward that basic assembly line. Yeah, okay, we're gonna have to figure this out. First things first, though, we have more research to do, which in our case, we're just gonna do that the manual way again while we're figuring this out. See, because if I set up something here, it might be redundant once these resources run out. But if I just come up with a system at the equator, I would like to see the grid. How can I see the grid? Do I need to? Okay. Alright, so this is away from the equator, this is toward the equator.
Replication complete.
Is that it? Yeah, I think that's the equator. So we're at the equator. You can tell that it's the equator by that it has this thicker line. So now we just see if this equator is even workable. There doesn't seem to be a lot of space around this equator, which is a little annoying. Obviously, we can just use foundations and everything. Yeah, so this equator kind of sucks. I'm just trying to see if there's any patch of land here. Alright, so here seems to be a longer stretch of land, so if we set up here, that might be good. Alright, yeah, there's a lot more land here. Obviously, now that I have the equator, I can also just check. Okay, so this seems like it's one of the longer stretches, and then there's another one over here. But yeah, there's not a lot of land around the equator. Alright, so we found our equator. We found the spot where we want to build things. I'm just gonna put this here, just so I can find it again. And I'm gonna have to look for my other stuff. You can just rotate the planet a little bit, and you should usually find it. I think it's this way. Ah yes, you can see it down here at the horizon. So why at the equator? You can kind of see that here. If you look at the grid is kind of, you know, messing up a little bit the closer you get to the poles. So we're just going to walk to the pole so you can see that. So the grid is just going to have these little imperfections here and there the closer you get to the poles. So it's gonna mess up your assembly line a bit. And so the closer you have to the equator, the more just good tiles you have that are workable. Okay, we can get to the pole up there and then you can see what I mean. Right, so if you look here, you get no good gridding, and then in the next section here you have one line which just has a normal grid, but then that's already interrupted by another one, and that's another ring, and then this ring actually has two aligned grids. Like these grids, these two squares are aligned, and then you have two here again. And then the next ring is gonna have 3 before the grid breaks again at a weird spot. And then after that, I think you have 3 again. And then after that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here you can have 5 things in the same grid. So the closer you get to the equator, the more grid space you have without the grid actually just breaking on you. That's why I prefer going toward the equator with my stuff. Which means I'm gonna have to set up over there, which is a little bit of back and forth, but you know, I don't mind that. I don't mind that. So the only question is, do we smelt things on site and then transport the smelted goods toward the equator, or are we gonna smelt at the equator? I think we should smelt at the equator. Let me see, where do I unlock solar panels? Here. Okay, so we're gonna wanna activate this and get the solar panels soon. Because then at the equator you also get the most solar power, at least you think so. And then you can just build the system up indefinitely. At least that's, you know, my theory. I haven't perfected this. I was just, you know, thinking. Okay. I did reset my achievements just for fun. Anyway, let's go ahead and research. In the meantime, we can see if we can set up a little bit closer toward
Insufficient materials.
So we can make 4. Let's make 2 for now. It's gonna take a moment. Oh, I did not want to grab all of them. See, because if you rig something up that you just need to feed things into, then it doesn't matter where on the planet you harvest them from. You just bring them all to the same place. That's my theory, at least. Alright. And we're gonna want to have the research facility set up down there as well. But I think I'm just gonna set it up somewhere for now. What does this need again? I don't remember. Ah, there. So it needs a circuit board and a magnetic coil. To produce this. Alright, let me figure this out. We could set this assembly up here, or we could just simply go toward our equator and set everything up there. Which I think that's what I'm gonna do. Just gonna grab as much of this as I can. So let's just grab some of this, and let's grab some coal too. And then some copper. And we're just gonna leave this here for now, as we go and try to set up. Now we're gonna have to figure out, I think this way. Or was it that way? Oh, I don't remember. No, it should be this way. Ah, there's our pylon. I see, because I placed the pylon, I can sort of see it when I'm looking at the planet here on the bottom left. Alright, here we are. So now we're gonna have to figure out how we wanna do this. Yeah, I know I can build this, I know. So the thing is that I'm thinking that I wanna have an assembly line that sort of just does everything in one line. So it needs to have a smelter, and it needs the assembling and all that. So I'm kind of thinking maybe I'll do raw material processing on this side of the equator and then assembling on that side of the assembler of the equator, right? So then we're not sort of mixing these two things up together. Can I build a bigger storage? Or unlock a bigger storage? Where is that? Ah, it's up there. Okay, but even if we don't have the large depot yet, it doesn't matter. Alright, so that tells me that what I want to do is so if I'm thinking about the smelters can smelt iron and they can smelt copper. I don't think there's anything else on this planet that we need to think about in terms of smelting, is there? Is there? Well, either way, what we're gonna do, right, is start setting up some lanes. We're gonna need a lot more conveyor belts. So, if we want to do this correctly, then we want to probably leave some space in the middle for solar panels.
Insufficient materials.
Yeah. Right, so the middle is going to be for solar panels, and then if we go ahead and let's just say we'll have 3 conveyor belts here. Let's build a couple of these as well. I'm just trying to come up with the overall design for it currently, for the smelting side of things. Because if we put a smelter over here, then if this were a iron smelter, it could place the iron on this conveyor belt, and that would then be the iron conveyor belt. We can also set a filter for this and say this is iron ingot, right? And if next to it we'd have a copper smelter, then we could have the copper smelter wait, didn't I? Oh, okay, it's gonna take a moment. So then we can have the copper smelter do this, right? So we have iron on this conveyor belt. Where is it? Ah, there. And then we can have copper on that conveyor belt. Right, and that leaves us with 1 conveyor belt for something else, which I'm not sure what we would put on there. I don't know. I suppose steel. Let's look. So yeah, I think steel would probably be the one thing that is also going to come out of a smelter. So if you're checking, you can look at where these things come from, right? So this is also made in a smelting facility. Okay. How is everything made in a smelting facility? Diamonds are also made in a smelting facility. Silicon in a smelting facility. Okay, so I'm seeing we will need more smelting than this. Okay. All right. But that's why we have the equator, because we can expand this outward, right? We can make another line of smelters out here, right? So that should be fine. Just currently thinking if I want to get rid of this or keep it there and keep it for steel. How do you make steel anyway? I don't know. Does it tell you? Oh yeah, so you're just gonna take iron and you're gonna turn it into steel. Okay. So we're gonna have the most basic stuff being produced at the center, and then the further out it's going to have the more advanced stuff, right? And we're gonna have storage chests that are gonna bring the goods outward and inward. Okay, that's gonna be interesting. All right. Let's make another smelter, just, you know, so we can check. Maybe we should leave space in between these. No, okay, let's not leave space. Let's instead do a group of 3. And then what I'm thinking is we're gonna change this to steel. Can I get rid of it? Ah, okay. Alright, okay. So if I change that to steel. Let's get rid of that. Alright, and so that would be steel. So if we make this inner one steel, and then the second one we're gonna make copper, then the third one could then be steel. I think I like that. So then this here is going to be my copper. And then the last one is basically reserved for when we have unlocked steel. Which currently we don't have it, so it's just going to sit idle for now.
Insufficient materials.
Let's make a couple of these coils because I need to see how far range is. Because all of this obviously needs to be powered as well. So there's that, you know. Let me also make a couple of wind turbines which we're gonna place instead of the solar panels for now. So if you have this little grouping here, if you're gonna build everything exactly the same way, exactly like this, then if you were to put a power pylon in between them right here, that should probably power all of them, as long as you also have a wind turbine, which we're gonna need to wait for. It's gonna take a moment. We're gonna replace these wind turbines down the line with solar panels that are gonna run across the equator. I don't know if I left enough space. I think I'm good. I think I left enough space.
Insufficient materials.
Gee, can I just grab a couple of these? Well, I can make one. Okay, well, let's grab a little bit more stone. This is gonna be in the way anyway. Alright. So, now
Replication complete.
let's make a couple more. And we can place the wind turbine. Let's place it at exactly the same spot. Alright, we actually have some space even. We could put this even further away, so let's try to see how far away we can put this. So the wind turbine is there. We can put the Tesla tower all the way here. Ooh, that's quite far. But that's not going to be close enough for these things. Okay, so if we do this.
Complete.
Trying to think what the best setup is, because obviously if we put this here, then our other smelters might benefit from that. Or we will just decide that, you know what, we're gonna build things more compact and we're gonna have it closer. Right there instead. So you can reach the maximum amount of facilities, and then we'd obviously need another one right here. Or maybe we can put these like that actually, yeah. And then we can put another wind turbine in the grid here. I think this box is about the same size as a solar panel. So we got 4 solar panels in between here. Let me figure that out. So if I want this all basically aligned with a grid, then we're gonna do this. So if these were all solar panels, then we'd obviously want to put the towers like that. So we can have 4 solar panels and then towers, and then build the other tower here. And the other tower there. I'm thinking about moving everything up by 1. Yeah, I think that's what I want to do. I want to move everything by 1. So we're gonna have to go ahead. Thankfully, you know, it doesn't take so long. We could obviously build a 4th one, or a 3rd one, and it might not be a bad idea to do 1 copper, 2 iron, and 1 steel. Because I'm pretty sure we'll need more iron than any of the other 2, so that's probably a good idea. Let's go ahead and we don't have enough stone. Go ahead and grab some. Oh, we found some titanium ore. Curious. Alright, so if we put that together now, it's gonna take a moment, then we can just go ahead and then every, you know, every few iterations of this, we can then put a storage. All right. Let me figure that out. So if we were to put the storage, I think the big storage container is like 1 bigger than this to each side. So we want to leave space to upgrade it. And then maybe this Tesla tower is in the wrong spot. Maybe we would want to center it instead. Yeah, let's go ahead and center these instead. Like this and like that. And then we do the same over here. Unless no, let's put the storage facility here. And then do that. Alright, so the reason we're putting up so much storage is so that at any point we have storage. So that it can basically run around the whole planet and just keep cycling things through. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put the wind turbines here instead of the... Okay, we can only have 2. That's okay. So eventually we're going to replace these with solar panels, and then we're going to put the wind turbines around lakes instead and so on, and just transport the power back to what our setup here. Alright. Now the question is also, how are we going to get things from here to there? And right now I can only build 2 things atop one another, which is a bit of a problem. I want to be able to do 3. So I think that's an upgrade. Or is it a technology? I think it's an upgrade. It's gonna take a moment to unlock. Well, in that case, I suppose we're just gonna have to mix our storage facilities a little bit, which that's okay. That's just what we're gonna have to do. Is there anything here we can unlock easily? Blueprints is probably what we're gonna want. A 100 circuit boards. Okay, that is going to take a moment. It's 20, 40, 60, 80. Okay, that'll bring us close. Alright, but I like this setup so far, so obviously it'll need more logistic stuff, so it'll need outlets here, and then inlets over here. Right, and then the last one, being the steel one, is gonna have 1 out and 1 in. Oh, but that one was set up wrong. Steel goes there. So basically what I'm doing right now is that I am building a blueprint so that I can just copy this over and over across the land if I so want to, you know. So this one, let's make the first one the copper one. So copper goes in the middle. And then steel goes on the first one. So let's go ahead and mark these. I think here is good. So that one's steel. That one's copper. And then this one, I keep saying steel to this iron. That one is steel, right? So that's the basic setup for now. And obviously we will now need the inputs. And the inputs are going to work exactly the same way. We're going to have a belt here. And a belt there. And then this belt is going to be iron, and this belt is going to be copper. I'm wondering if I should have a second iron belt instead. Right, because we will likely need more iron than copper, so let's go ahead. And then we'll need a storage facility there and there.
Replication complete.
And then we'll need a couple more of these guys. So that way we can just have a belt of material running around the equator, feeding into an endless, loop until we've basically run out of materials on this planet. But then, because we have built the infrastructure, we can just bring more material in from other planets and just have them produced here again, right? So we're setting ourselves up for the future here. At least that's what I'm thinking we're doing. It might be completely redundant. Everything I'm doing here might be completely redundant, but I like to think that we are setting ourselves up for having something that is going to last us for the future. So let's go ahead, put these sorters here, and then obviously we're going to need them here as well. And then the center ones are for the iron, right? So it's gonna grab iron here. And if there's no iron there, it's gonna grab iron there. Now let's make this more symmetrical. And then same thing over here. And then the first one being copper, it's gonna grab its copper ore from over here. And
insufficient materials.
Yes, okay, let's make more. We just want to make sure that these that these can work at maximum capacity.
Insufficient materials.
Because if the resources start being a bit sparse on the belts, I want them to be able to grab everything they need fast.
Replication complete.
So I'm gonna kind of even them out. This one's gonna grab things. Yeah, okay, I think I like this. And then the copper one is obviously gonna grab everything from here. All right. And then the steel one is not gonna grab anything from back here. All right. And then maybe we need to work on the outlets as well, because it might need to output things faster onto the belt. It's a bit of a shame that the steel can only pick up one, because I don't think I'll be able to get it to pick anything up from over there. You can sort of go around corners, but yeah, not really. But the steel one being a bit slower than the other ones, I think that's okay, because yeah, we don't need as much of it. All right, so there you go. That would be our basic setup. For the smelting, at least so far. Let's go ahead and make a bit more storage. In the meantime, we can set filters here. No use setting that filter yet. There and there. And then this. I'm just gonna remove that for now. Okay. We might tweak this a bit before we make it a blueprint. Just gonna fiddle around with it. And the smelting and raw resource production facilities are gonna run this way, and the construction is gonna run the other way. Right, it's gonna run the opposite direction. That way, even if I don't build a complete ring, I can have a loop. So I can now set up the construction line over on this side, running the other direction, so that all of the materials that land in these chests back here can be brought over to chests over here, and then can be put into an assembly line over here. That's at least the idea. Oh, I messed up. It happens. There we go. Easy fix. Imagine you make a blueprint and then you build something giant on a planet and then realize you messed up. Better to mess up in small scales like this. Alright. So, what we can do now is basically we can set a filter for this. And what we'd want to do is, so you can set a uniform filter, or you can set the filter by existing items. And if you are going to do existing items, you're going to want to make sure that the items are not going to come out of the chests. In our case, it's okay because we only have 2 chests currently, and we can just say one of them is going to be iron and the other one is going to be copper, right? This one's copper, this one's iron. Works perfectly fine for now, right? And then over here, same thing, we can just set a uniform filter. This one's going to have iron, and then this one's going to have copper. And eventually we can stack another one on top and that'll be fine. And then we're going to repeat the same thing over here, where we're going to set the filter to iron and the upper one for copper. And it doesn't matter which one is on top and which one is below, because the items are all, like, this is counting as one storage. And then here we're going to do the same thing, iron and copper, and then we can put the steel one on top once we have unlocked it. And so now basically this should already be working. So if we were to go ahead and set this one to copper, that one to iron, that one to iron. Oh, I just realized the magnets are also being made in here. But we're going to put the magnets on the other side, right? The magnets are going to be made on this side, I think. We're not going to put that in the smelting ring. Yeah, no, it's going to be on the other side, I think. I'm undecided because obviously it's a smelting thing, so it should be over on this side. Question just being, where would we do that? Oh, we need more stone. I'm realizing a mistake here. I should put the raw materials in the middle. Yes. Reason being, that the raw materials are always going to stay the same, whereas the materials that I make from them might be smelted into other things out here, right? So maybe what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to make this another iron one, right? Let's get rid of all this. So we're going to make 3... I'm going to make 3 iron to 1 copper ratio because, again, I think we will need way more iron than we need copper, but I could be wrong. But I think we're gonna need more iron than copper. So let's change this to iron and this to copper. And then, you know what? Maybe we're gonna actually make 2 lines here for iron, just so we can have more output or throughput, I suppose. And then iron, copper. Right, and then this one is gonna use copper ore. And we're gonna get rid of all this. Okay, and we need to change the filters. Okay, so no. Iron is on the bottom, copper is on the top. Let's change these filters as well. Yeah, I think that's better. Because then, yeah, the raw materials, iron or copper ore, they're not going to change. They're going to be the same, and then that works. That works really well. I don't know if we can maybe move all this a little bit closer, but I like to keep a little bit of space here, just in case I need more power. Since I don't know if I will need more power or not. Okay, let's change these filters. Alright, so that is all of them changed, I think. Right. Now we're gonna have to set up the smelters again. Let's start with the inputs. Okay, so copper is easy. Copper is gonna need to just grab copper from here. Iron is going to do this. I think 2 should be enough. Honestly, 1 is probably enough as well, but let's make 2. Alright. So that's all the input figured out. And now we're gonna wanna figure out the output. Obviously, these storage chests that I have here in the start don't matter. But I like having them here just so that I can put stuff in here if I have anything, you know, on hand or so. They're most likely going to just stay empty until at least I complete the loop. And maybe at the beginning, you know, what I can do is just loop these back, right? Because obviously that could be a problem if I'm running out of iron for the steel and stuff like that. And so we're gonna have to see about that, right? Or we make that assembly line run the other way. Ah, okay, I'm onto something. Let's finish this one first though. So output. We're gonna put as much output as we can. I think 2 should be enough. All right. Now this should, in theory, be working. Like this should be working as is. Let's go ahead and see what happens if we throw all the iron in here. And then throw all the copper in there. Oh no, it doesn't have enough electricity. Let's go ahead and try to fix that. Gonna fix that by just, for now at least, just putting these out here. Probably need a little bit more. Right, grid is still loaded a little bit badly, but it is working. As you can see, it is working perfectly fine. Now we just need to make sure that we can carry the raw materials in here so that they can be processed. And our first setup is a bit far away from that, so we might just strip that and see if we can find closer sources of the raw materials. Can we make more wind turbines? No, we cannot. But we now already have storage here, so that we can just grab these things. Whenever we need them. Right, so anytime we need any any iron or so, we can grab it here. And some of this is being trickled through because we're not using all of it. And then we'll just for now have to manually cycle it back. Unless, you know, what you can also do is just... Here's a thing you can do as well, which I don't know if this is maybe overkill, but you can actually move them up and down. And so you could potentially actually run this here. And that's not long enough. Let's do one more. The only problem with this... Right, so the only problem with this is that this would only be able to transport copper back, not iron. Because iron is stored on the bottom chest. So if I were to put that there, it'll only transport copper back. If I set the filter here to iron, it's not gonna do anything. Because iron is stored on the bottom. What I could do though, is I can reverse this path. And that'll essentially create a loop. Where every iron that is not being used is just being brought back. We'd have to reverse this as well, so get rid of that. Reverse this. So now we've created a loop. Which, you know, that's the thing. We might be better off creating the loop here. But, oh well. I think this works actually. I'm trying to think of reasons why this wouldn't be a good idea. No, personally, I think this is probably a good setup. I was thinking for a moment that perhaps it might be a bad idea, because if we put iron in here, there's only going to be so much iron that is going to pass through the first line. But then obviously it's going to come back, so if there's not enough iron on the first belt, there should always be iron on the second belt as well. And if they're grabbing it faster than you know, it's being sorted onto the first belt, then that problem isn't going to be solved by having two belts run in the same direction either, I feel. So instead, just having them go back and forth, I think is the better way to handle this. Alright, let's just go grab more raw material. I'm just gonna have to see real quick. Okay, I need to go that way, I think. So we're just now going to grab some more material, and maybe we're going to strip all of this down so that we can bring everything closer. Maybe I should have set up around the equator to begin with, but you know, I didn't think about that until, until. So let's go ahead and strip everything down. Start with the power. So everything stops working for a moment, and then we might not have enough inventory space to bring everything in one go. Which is okay. We're just gonna do a couple trips now. Can I be faster? I could, but it would take electric motors, which electric motors are down here. Haven't unlocked that yet, so we're gonna go manual here. I remember distinctly in the past, you know, playing video games when I was younger. These tasks were tedious, but you just did them. You just did them because they had to be done, right? Like I remember World of Warcraft just going around endlessly and, you know, it just took time. And it just took time even if you used the travel options, like even if you used griffins or whatever you could fly on. I forgot what it was. Even if you just flew around, it would still take physical time to get somewhere. And I kind of miss that in games. Everything is so streamlined and you're never just sitting down and... Right? It's all about just the result, rather than actually just enjoying the process of it. Nowadays, everybody just wants to finish a Dyson sphere, to put it in Dyson sphere perspectives, but no one wants to actually go around a planet and harvest resources, if that makes any sense. And yeah, it's probably pointless for me to walk back and forth here. But me, personally, I enjoy the process of this. And stopping every now and then to just grab some stone like an idiot. And things just take time. They just take time. So now we're gonna grab the rest of this. I think we can just grab everything. And then gonna grab all this and that, and that is our inventory full. Now let's go ahead and I'm just gonna leave the coal here. Right, it's full anyway, so we're just gonna leave that here for now. Until I want to deal with it. Oh yeah, see, here are some of my rigs. Oh gee. Here are some of the blueprints that where I've done something similar. So as you can see, this is kind of like the setup I had where I put free. Oh, okay, so I did put it in freeze rather than force back then. So it was kind of like a rig that I built similar to this, where I had the smelters and the conveyor belts and just everything set up. It's kind of funny to look back at this, but you know, I wanna start over. I wanna think about this anew instead of just reusing an old setup. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna delete them all. There. Now I really am challenged to just build it all again. So let's pick up as much of this as we can. And now we're gonna have to go back. That way, I think. No, this way. Right, and even in RPGs, I still remember needing to actually learn where anything was. Nowadays, you just fast travel everywhere and it's just boring. Although some people would say it's boring to have to walk there physically, but, you know, I feel like games had a different quality back then because it actually meant something. Going to a specific place actually meant something, you know? I still remember in World of Warcraft going somewhere just felt like I actually had to go there, right? Like I actually spent 2 hours physically going there. And of course, that's 2 hours that you've just traveled, but hey, sometimes the travel is actually rather enjoyable. Alright, and as you can see, the smelters are eating up everything. But we will make this faster at some point, obviously, so. Right now, this is where the problem that I was seeing is kind of manifesting. Right, because we're not getting supplies to the last smelter because we're not outputting the iron ore fast enough. But if we don't reverse this path, alright, I changed my mind. We're gonna figure out another way to get the iron from here back there. It shouldn't be too difficult. Right, because now also the last smelter is gonna work at full capacity. And then we're just gonna have to figure something out for the iron that does come through. Although it doesn't seem like a lot is coming through anyway currently, so there's that. Alright, let's go ahead and drop off the materials that we grabbed. And I hope you can kind of see where I'm going with this, with creating like an infinite loop that is indefinitely upgradable. And so that even if we end up not having any resources on this planet anymore, we can still use that. We can still use the planet's assembly line basically to get all of our base things created here. Unless, of course, it's going to be a hassle to get things here, which it could be. I don't know how that works. Okay, I think I can just grab all this now. Alright. So, that's everything. I'll grab a bit of stone. Can I collect oil? No, okay, I cannot. I would have been surprised if I would have been able to just collect oil. Alright. I haven't actually seen any iron or copper anywhere around here. It's just a lot of coal and stone and just... But no iron and copper actually. Anyway, let's put all that in there. Now we're gonna have to see if we can find some iron and copper. So we found some iron here, that's very close. It's good. 2 harvesters should probably be enough here, so let's start setting that up. Oh, wow, we just about can't reach all of them. That is a bit of a shame. Let's see if I can... I'm trying to stay within the grid, but I don't think if I stay in the grid I can get all of them. Okay, like this, I'm actually able to grab both. And the conveyor belts can be neatly stacked together. Okay. Alright, so that works for me. And I'll just be 1 second. There we go. So now we're just gonna have to transport this from here back there. And we're gonna need to supply it with power. So sadly, it's not sufficient to do this. Okay, so what we're gonna wanna do first is make a bunch of conveyor belts. So let's grab iron. And I actually just think that this is going to be the spot where we're going to run the feed into, right? So that should work. Okay, anyway, let's grab some iron from this chest back here. As you can see, it's been fairly productive. Obviously, most people are currently playing Hightail, I think. And I was considering buying the game and playing it, but I usually like to give games a little bit of time before I play them, because early on they usually have some issues, right? So I usually just let games just update a few times and, you know, have all the bad kinks worked out of them. Because obviously early on the game is gonna struggle a bit. And then people are gonna find a lot of things wrong with it and they're gonna fix it and then it gets better. There is something nice about playing a game as soon as it came out and being there for the progress of it, but since I'm more of a casual gamer, I don't even know if I'm gonna play the game for that long, so I want to play it in the best possible state it could be in, and it's definitely not going to be in its best state directly after coming out. Alright, so if we're gonna think about bringing these in here, see, we could put them like this. But then this pylon is kind of in the way, right? Which is problematic. We could go around it, obviously, but it just going up and then down and all that, but or we just go like this instead. Right? Just bring things in like this.
Replication complete.
That way we just have this one spot here where in between we're just gonna cycle in between things a little. Alright. And then obviously this is gonna be a problem getting this past the assembly line. Like I don't want the assembly line to have to deal with this. I remember in my other run, I made it so that. Yeah, okay, I remember. Okay, no, it doesn't matter. We're gonna do it like this for now, and then if we need to run these above and below and whatever, we'll do that. But for now, we'll do it like this. Yeah. For now, we'll do it like this. So we're gonna have to bring these up. I'm gonna go as straight as I can. There's just something satisfying about seeing all those straight lines. I think I'm going to start from there. I'm not sure if we can get past the... Oh, we actually can. Okay. Perfect. Perfect spacing. I don't know if we're gonna have enough conveyor belts, so... Let's grab some more iron and make some more. Alright, let's just stand here and figure the rest of this out. So, you know, I'm surprised the conveyor belts don't really need any electricity. But I suppose that would just be too realistic. Now we're gonna have to figure out how we're gonna do this. I think we're gonna do a storage chest. Right there. Or here. Yep, right there. Yeah, and then I'm gonna run this into the storage chest. Actually, we should probably move the chest there. Oh, I will need more of these guys too. Let me go grab some copper.
Replication complete.
I should probably leave one of them for copper. One of the lines, yeah. Alright, oh right, I went to grab copper. Let's make a couple of these. I don't even know where the next copper deposit is, but we're gonna find one somewhere. It'll be where it'll be. Trying to make sure I'm not missing it anywhere here. Anyway, let's get... Oops. Let's get this set up. Trying to think right now.
Replication complete.
We should probably do this. Not like this, but like that instead. So we can get more things potentially sorted into this chest. Right, we have more input potential. And then I'm not sure, because I'm pretty sure these sorters aren't going to be fast enough to grab everything. I mean, it probably doesn't matter, to be honest. I'm just overcomplicating it right now. Let's just feed all of this in there. Oops. Not what I wanted to do. Okay, I can't feed that in there. That is very annoying. Alright, let's get rid of it. That should do. Alright. Obviously, we're gonna input things a lot faster than it can be output. But see, the thing is, we can probably also speed things up a bit and so on and so forth. And maybe this is overkill, but whatever. We're gonna figure it out as we go. Now we just need to supply this with electricity. And we're gonna have one wind turbine in this gap here. So we're gonna put one in there. It's obviously not gonna be enough. So let's see if we can put another one close by. There we go, and then we have one more. Where can we put this? We will need it kind of over here. Yeah, let's put it there. Is this producing enough electricity? Just about. Let's make one more. We don't have copper. Wait. And we do have copper. Why can't...
Insufficient materials.
I'm lacking magnets. Oh, okay, okay. We don't have any iron ore. That's it. Well, thankfully, we've got a bunch here. We might have too much stuff in our inventory, though. Right, so there we go. We've got our iron coming in faster than we can actually process it. That's great, and we're probably gonna run out of space. And then it's gonna be clogged up. But that's okay, right? The whole system being clogged up, that's okay. Eventually, we're gonna free up space and then it won't be clogged up anymore. And let's just make 5. Eventually, we're gonna actually do some assembling with this and then that'll work itself out. So, we need to look for some copper. Okay. Sparse resources, I see you. I mean, there's the copper here that we found earlier, but is that the only copper? No, there's more here. That is ridiculous. There. Oh, but that's pretty far as well. There's no closer copper. The copper is really far away. I mean, I think this copper is a little bit closer. But gee, that is far. Alright, well, we wanted to have sparse resources, so here goes. Copper is very sparse. So that's that way. I basically just want to set up the copper. And then I'll be done for the day. But I do want to set the copper up before I end things. Just so I can say, hey, I've set everything up for basic smelting of copper and iron and... yeah. There it is. Hello, you beautiful copper. And we're gonna be able to do... well, probably gonna need 2. Right. Let's put her here. Alright, and then I'm gonna have to figure out how to get everything over there. How far are we from the equator? That's it, right? Yeah. All right. So probably gonna go this way. Gee. Okay. That's a long way to go for some copper. So I think we're gonna just right here. Put our storage. And then get all that connected. With a bit of symmetry at least. Oh, oops. And just wait for them to place these down so we can... There we go. Now we'll need power. Put her there. And the other one there. Okay, so that's both of them working. And now we need one there. Looks like it's running smoothly. And now we're gonna have a task ahead of us. We're just gonna do one line for now. Yeah, we're just gonna do the one line for now. We're eventually gonna maybe upgrade this, but since we don't need as much copper, I think just one line should be enough. Which then, this is probably overkill. But we'll see. Maybe we need to upgrade this, but for now, let's do one line all the way. I wonder, can we fail this? I mean, since we're playing on the hardest difficulty, if we waste our resources, does it basically mean we won't be able to finish building our Dyson sphere? That would actually be interesting. Well, I'm gonna try to not waste any resources though. I don't know what we can do with logs and plant fuel. I don't think there's anything we can do with that, but let's not waste it anyway. All right, let's get you moving. Obviously, if you're standing next to what you're building, it's gonna go a little faster because these little drones don't need to go as far. All right, let's keep going. Waste none. I like how it automatically picks up the soil, but it doesn't automatically pick up any of the stone or so that's in the way. We probably want to make some more conveyor belts. And we're basically just going to feed this into this line. So, yeah. Let's just do it like that. I mean, I'm just pretty sure this is as fast as it goes, and we can always upgrade later on. Right, because the iron is already... There's no queue, right? It's just going... It's just going. So, the copper is coming. And it's all working neatly. Although I'm pretty sure the iron is just being stockpiled because we're full of iron ingots. Yeah. Oh well. But there we go. We fulfilled our first mission that I had for myself. Time to take a screenshot for thumbnail. Although I might actually just not take screenshots for thumbnails, but yeah, maybe we're gonna take a screenshot right here. Maybe we can go in our production and
Replication complete.
okay. How do I do this? Ah, okay. Let's make a little bit of a and then let's go ahead and just set up another set of boxes here. Just so we can reach these through. So that we can get this in here as well. That way we can get some nice stats going for how much we are producing. Obviously this is not representative. Because right now the smelters cannot smelt properly until at least it has sort of evened out a little bit again. Right, these smelters are not working yet, so now it's starting to slowly trickle through. Anyway, I'm just going to wait for this so that I can, provide a nice screenshot of the production tab in the overview or in our thumbnail. So I'll see you next time. Bye.